A very warm welcome to the launch of Cambodia's first Safe Ground event. Safe Ground is a program that clears landmines from contaminated land and then turns them into playing fields where children and communities can learn, play, and grow. We are delighted and excited to have with us the renowned British actor of film, television, and stage, Mr. Daniel Craig, who joins us in his capacity as the UN Global Advocate for the elimination of mines and explosive hazards. A very warm welcome to Mr. Craig, and I take this opportunity to introduce him and you all to our guests here in the UNDP office in Phnom Penh. First of all, my respects to His Excellency Lee Tuk, the Senior Minister and First Vice President of the Cambodia Mine Action and Victim Assistance Authority, who directly reporting to the Prime Minister leads mine clearance work for Cambodia. Next to him is His Excellency Lee Panaret, the Deputy Secretary General of CMAA. On my right, we have the Resident Coordinator for the United Nations in Cambodia, Ms. Pauline Tomisis, and we're also joined by my colleague, the UNICEF Cambodia representative, Ms. Farouk Fuyuzat. Also here in the room, we have deminers who undertake the frontline work of clearing the mines, and members from the community in Battambang who have benefited from the Safe Ground program. Joining us on the Zoom link, we have the United Nations Assistant Secretary General and UNDP Director of the Crisis Bureau, Mr. Sako Okai. And my sincere thanks also to the representatives from Australia, Canada, China, Japan, New Zealand, Norway, the Republic of Korea, Switzerland, and the United Kingdom. They're all joining us via Zoom. They are all senior members of their embassy, and they contribute their generous support to clearing landmines here in Cambodia. Before I hand over to our first speaker, please note that we are on Facebook Live and we're on Zoom and we're in several countries. So if we have a few buffering issues or technical problems, please bear with us. Now I'd like to hand over to our first speaker, the Resident Coordinator for the United Nations in Cambodia, Ms. Pauline Tomisis. Pauline, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Nick. His Excellency Dr. Lee Tuk, Vice President, Cambodia Mine Action Authority, Ms. Asako Okai, Assistant Secretary General of UNDP, Mr. Daniel Craig, UN Global Advocate for the elimination of mines and explosive hazards, colleagues and friends. We are excited to be with you this evening at the launch of the Safe Ground initiative in Cambodia. The seeds for Safe Ground was planted in May 2019 during the annual dialogue of the UN in Cambodia with the Prime Minister. Cambodia's efforts in mine action needs sustained global attention. The royal government of Cambodia believes that mine action reduces poverty, makes zero hunger, access to education, and peace a reality. So much so that the government designated an 18th Sustainable Development Goal and targeted to be mine-free by 2025. This 18th Cambodian SDG is even more significant when we consider the disastrous consequences of COVID-19 on the lives and livelihoods of vulnerable Cambodians. The essential work of demining did not stop in Cambodia, even while businesses slowed down and governments focused on containing the pandemic. Managing the pandemic and clearing mines are both about saving lives and livelihoods. It's also about using the crisis as an opportunity to build back better by standing up for human rights. Stepping up assistance to victims and clearing land for agriculture and productive activity, and even children's playing fields paved the way for Cambodians to reimagine future possibilities. I congratulate the royal government on a strong and forward-looking, ambitious national mine action strategy, which set the course for mine-free Cambodia in 4 years. With a clear deadline in sight, now is the time to bolster support for Cambodians to live in a safe environment and where no one is left behind. If the UN in Cambodia planted the seeds in 2019, Safe Ground, with this launch, mobilizes awareness sorely needed to achieve a mine-free Cambodia in 2025. Thank you, Mr. Craig, for lending your name to Cambodia's hopes for an inclusive, equitable, and sustainable future.
Thank you, Pauline, and I appreciate you linking the wider SDGs to the landmine work and clearance here. I'm very pleased that we are joined from New York over the Zoom link by UN Assistant Secretary General and UNDP Director of the Crisis Bureau, Ms. Asako Okai. Asako, over to you.
Thank you, Nick. It is my great pleasure to participate in this important ceremony. I'm not in New York. I'm calling from Tokyo, but nevertheless, I'm grateful to see you all in the Zoom space. And congratulate all counterparts in Cambodia, particularly the Cambodian Mine Action and Victim Assistance Authority and Battambang community on completing the first Safe Ground project. And then I also thank Mr. Daniel Craig for being here with us and for advocating globally for elimination of mine and explosive hazard and to promote Safe Ground campaign. Your voice is so important and we count on your continued engagement. Let me touch on the global importance of Safe Ground project. They help building resilient communities and reaching the overarching goal of leave no one behind, as articulated by colleague Pauline. And I became the champion of Safe Ground in April 2019. And since then, UNDP and our partners initiated Safe Ground project in a number of countries such as Cambodia and Laos PDR. In Cambodia, UNDP's Safe Ground will contribute to government's ambitious goal of a mine-free Cambodia by 2025 and the national SDG 18 on mine action. We are particularly pleased that the Cambodian government named the mine action as a SDG 18 in addition to 17 goals. It will build on UNDP's project Clearing for Results. Since the project's inception in 2006, it has cleared and released a total of 253 square kilometers of land that was put to productive use by affected communities. It benefited over 1 million rural people, of which 50% are female beneficiaries. Well done, colleagues and partners. I extend my heartfelt congratulations to all those contributed to this remarkable achievement, and many of you are here with us. Your dedication to make the field safe for children and all made this difference despite the dangers associated with the clearance. Thank you very much for your passion and dedication. UNDP is committed to continue advocating for Safe Ground campaign, linking it to victim assistance in mine action. Together with colleagues in the country office and the partners in the field, we will make best effort to integrate mine action into recovery, peace building, and long-term development. Thank you very much. Over back to you, Nick.
Asako, thank you very much, and thank you for linking that to the long-term commitment from UNDP, from UNICEF, and from all of us at the UN to a mine-free Cambodia. Now, I would like to commence our formal ceremony by handing over to the first Vice President of the Cambodia Mine Action and Victims Assistance Authority, His Excellency Lee Tuk.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you.
Over to you.
Thank you. Good evening here and good morning over there. United Nations Global Advocate for the Elimination of Mines and Explosive Hazard, Mr. Daniel Craig, Assistant Secretary General, Mr. Asako Okai, United Nations Resident Coordinator, Ms. Pauline, the Mrs. United Nations Resident Representative for UNDP Cambodia, Nick, and Ms. Faru Fuyusat, United Nations Representative for UNICEF Cambodia. Our representative from the embassies, online, ladies and gentlemen, dear kids, good to having you here. Thank you very much indeed for joining us today, whether here or online across Cambodia and the world for this evening. Exciting event as we launched Cambodia's first safe ground. Between the mid-1960s until the end of 1998, Cambodia faced a series of internal and regional conflicts, which left a legacy of landmines and explosive remnants of war across our country. These mines and explosive remnants of war have claimed nearly 20,000 lives and injured over 45,000 others, causing unprecedented suffering to individuals, their families, and communities. The physical, emotional, and psychological impacts of landmines and ERW are compounded by the economic loss and impairment of fundamental rights of our people, as these explosive ordinances continue to hinder Cambodia's development. After 28 years of humanitarian mine action, we have released 2,138 square kilometers, or just over 825 square miles for our friends in the United States of decontaminated land. Through the efforts of our national and international partners and our demining heroes, we have found and destroyed over 1 million anti-personnel mines, nearly 25,000 anti-tank mines, and over 2,600,000 explosive remnants of war. But much work remains, and our efforts must continue. Our important task, our important work must continue because with each area cleared, grounds are permanently opened for Cambodians to safely to rebuild lives on, to work on, or in this case, for school to be built on. Creating safe ground for the people of Cambodia is the first step to creating security and promoting the rights of victims and survivors of landmines and ERW. Therefore, on behalf of the Royal Government of Cambodia, it gives me great pleasure to warmly welcome Mr. Daniel Craig back to Cambodia to help us launch Cambodia's first safe ground at Steng Toch Ground Primary School in Battambang Province. Thank you.
Excellency Lee Tuk, thank you very much and for putting the context and the scale of the challenge that still remains for all of us. Now, I'd like to introduce our guest of honor, the acclaimed British actor of television, film and stage, Mr. Daniel Craig. You know him from films such as Knives Out, from Tomb Raider, that was of course filmed here in Cambodia, and of course his role in the James Bond series. Mr. Craig joins us as the UN Global Advocate for the elimination of mines and explosive hazard. Mr. Craig, over to you.
Thank you so much, Nick. I'm just how grateful and honored I am to see so many distinguished guests from embassies around the world. Your presence here is just so crucial and important. So thank you to you all. Your Excellency, Vice President Lee Tuk and the Head of Communications, Lee Panarit, United Nations Resident Coordinator for Cambodia, Ms. Pauline Tamisis, Assistant Secretary General, Ms. Asako Okai, the UNICEF representative, Farouk Fuhuzat, Resident Representative Cambodia, Mr. Nick Beresford, ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure to be able to join you this evening in Phnom Penh and Battambang and to participate in the inauguration of the first Safe Ground project of 2021. The quest to rid the world and to rid Cambodia of landmines is one that I have supported for many years. Decades ago, I was working in Cambodia. I was very fortunate to be working in Cambodia when I saw firsthand the devastation that these weapons cause. Knowing that one landmine can sit in the ground for half a century, perhaps relocate in a flood, and still detonate when a child, a farmer, or a couple out on a stroll steps on it is, quite frankly, insane. They are freelance assassins and they do not discriminate. In an instant, anyone could lose a limb, be blinded, or die. When I was walking down a path bordering a minefield, looking at those iconic red danger signs, mine signs, I caught a glimpse of what it must be like for parents when their children go to school or go out to play, and what it is like for children to live with the fear of knowing that there are explosive devices buried around them. I was lucky enough to speak earlier with Kim Hong and her parents, who told me their stories. And I was struck by how they have learned to live with these dangers. It's incredible, and that it's almost normal, but it is not normal, and we must never let it be normal. We are here today to celebrate the clearance of this threat. And the credit for this goes first and foremost to the men and women who demine the land. It is painstaking work that requires patience and concentration and immense bravery, and I am in awe of every single one of them. And today, they have given me the great honor of helping them destroy a mine they located. So we'll do that in a minute. But when they finish their work and the land is resurveyed and released, only then is it safe ground, safe to farm, to walk on, safe for children to play on. And that is what we're here to launch today. The Battambang Safe Ground Project, cleared by deminers under the auspices of the Cambodian Mine Action Authority, with the support from many of the donors who are in this room today, and set up by the United Nations, so that Kim Hong and her schoolmates can play soccer safely after school. They will play on safe ground, like all children and people have a right to do. Safe ground, it's a fundamental human right. Now, I know there's a lot of work remaining to achieve the 2025 goal of a mine-free Cambodia, but it can be achieved with a sustained commitment and increased resourcing. With a clear deadline in sight, now is the time for the international community to rally behind the Royal Government of Cambodia and bolster their commitments. Please join me in supporting the Mine Action Authority and the United Nations to see to it that the job is finished. And to all the men and women on the front line that carry out this necessary, crucial work, I extend my personal thanks and gratitude. I wish them all health, safety, and happiness in 2021. Thank you. Is everything set, Nick? I'm assuming we're now going to do this.
We are, yes. So are we ready?
Thank you.
Okay, I think you can count it down.
Count it down. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right.
One more gone.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Daniel, for your compassionate and insightful remarks. We are touched by your statement. But let me also to report to you, in the pursuit of the 2030 agenda, the Royal Government of Cambodia adopted, and like Madam the UN Resident Coordinator just said, adopted an 18th Sustainable Development Goal to end the negative impact of mine and ERW and promote victim assistance. So our government is committed to mine action here in this country. We want to clear the last landmine on our land. Mm-hmm. So we have put this in our government poverty reduction plans and strategies over the years about to clear our landmines. Cambodia's ability to reach any sustainable development goal is intertwined with our ability to locate and clear explosive ordnance, as there is no security when there's explosive that can maim and kill, as you rightly said. In 2000, Cambodia became a state party to the Anti-Personal Mine Ban Convention. In line with our obligations to convention, the mine-free by 2025, to be mine-free by 2025, the Royal Government of Cambodia has developed a national mine action strategy 2018-2025. which outlines how Cambodia will address its mine ERW problem by releasing all known, like you said, because climate change, so Cambodia been victims of climate change because we have frequent floodings and so on. So landmine moving around freely, going deeper underground, deeper to the forest. So we said we will clear all these, but we know where they are. We know where they are. So by releasing all known anti-personnel mines area by 2025 and preparing to address mine ERW threat beyond 2025, we know that we will continue to do this. We learn from time to time, even in London, you still discover those items from the World War, First or Second World War, but here is so many of them everywhere. The government of Cambodia is committed also to making Cambodia mine-free by 2025, but we need assistance. Like you said, Daniel, we would like to express the government's highest gratitude to the generous support of our international development partners, many of whom we are honored to have joined us today, which has enabled us to make the gains we have made so far in the humanitarian mine action sector in Cambodia. Our government has spent, beside our small budget, we have spent over the past 27 years, over 160 million US dollars to mine clearance here in this country. The donor community has spent more than 260 million US dollars. So we got the result that we told you earlier. However, to meet our 2025 target of a mine-free Cambodia, we face operational and financial challenges, which we humbly call on global support to reach. Cambodia has some 2,152 square kilometers, which remain impacted by the presence of landmines and especially of remnants of war, including cluster munition. So we still have 3 sides of Singapore contaminated by landmines and other remnants of war, or 3 sides of Phnom Penh, around Phnom Penh about 700 square kilometers, same size as Singapore. So we have 3 sides of Singapore to be cleared. To meet our obligations under the convention, we must clear 835 square kilometers of land contaminated by landmines. Even with the continued generous support of our current development partners, the government of Cambodia is facing a 225 million shortfall from 2021 to 2025. To raise these kind of funds requires vast momentum and coalitions to be built on a global scale. Daniel, your kind willingness to stand as the United Nations global advocate for the elimination of mines and explosive hazards is deeply valued by our government and people here in Phnom Penh. As you help shine a global light on the continued plight we face, we would like now to share with you, with the world, the story of our dear Kim Hong, who joined us today. Kim Hong, today with her beloved mother and father, and show you the difference which creating safe ground has made for the local villages and students. Mine clearance have helped over the years clear land so that we can build school afterwards in many locations in our provinces. So students of Steng Toi Crown Primary School, directors also here, join us for this celebratory event. So we can play the video, please. Thank you.
ខ្ញុំឈ្មោះគឹមហុងមានអាយុ8ឆ្នាំពេលខ្ញុំធំឡើងខ្ញុំចង់ក្លាយជាគ្រូបង្រៀនខ្ញុំ មានសំណាងឲ្យបានរស់នៅកន្លែងមួយដែលមានទេសភាពនិងស្រស់ស្អាតទឹកដីតំបន់នេះវាស្រែនៅក្នុងគឺជាផ្ទះរបស់ខ្ញុំប៉ុន្តែវាក៏គ្រោះថ្នាក់ដែរពេលដែលខ្ញុំលើកពាក្យទៅគ្រាប់មីនខ្ញុំខ្លាចខ្ញុំភ័យញ័រហ៊ានទៅជិតពួកវាឯងកាប់ខ្ញុំនៅតូចខ្ញុំធ្លាប់ឮធ្លាប់ឃើញក្មេងៗពីការភ្នែកបាក់ដៃបាក់ជើងហើយអ្នកខ្លះស្លាប់ដោយសារគ្រាប់មីនកន្លែងជាច្រើននៅតំបន់នេះគេអត់ទាន់ដោះមីនទេហើយខ្ញុំនៅតែខ្លាចម៉ែខ្ញុំបាត់បង់ជើងដោយសារគ្រាប់មីនតាំងពីខ្ញុំអត់ទាន់កើតទេប៉ុន្តែក៏អត់ដែរចេះចាញ់ទេខ្ញុំសោកស្ដាយដែលម៉ែខ្ញុំអត់មានជើងដូចគេទោះយ៉ាងណាក៏គាត់ជាម៉ែរបស់ខ្ញុំដែរពេលខ្ញុំទៅនេពីរៀនខ្ញុំជួយធ្វើម្ហូបម៉ែរៀបចំផ្ទះហើយគាត់ជួយខ្ញុំដើរលេងខ្ញុំសង្ឃឹមថាម៉ែអាចជួបជាមួយខ្ញុំយ៉ាងហោចណាស់ក៏បានម្ដងដែរប៉ុន្តែគាត់ក៏សប្បាយចិត្តពេលឃើញខ្ញុំរត់លេងនៅកន្លែងសុវត្ថិភាពខ្ញុំជួយចិត្តបាត់ទាត់ពេលខ្ញុំលេងមានអារម្មណ៍សប្បាយហើយមានសេរីភាព
Across the world, playgrounds are seen as safe places where children can play with freedom and joy. But in some countries, this is not the case. In Cambodia, the legacy of war continues. Millions of explosive items are littered across the country and still injure and kill people, and this includes children. The fact that they are known to exist creates fear, anxiety, and insecurity. The Safe Ground campaign transforms mine-contaminated lands into safe sports facilities where young people can play. It aims to bring attention and resources to survivors of explosive ordnance. I am happy to announce the opening of the new Safe Ground in Cambodia, and I look forward to when I will be able to visit in person. I strongly support the United Nations Safe Ground campaign and hope that you will too.
Great. Okay, Excellency, now we come to the point of unveiling the plaque for commemorating this first safe ground here in Cambodia. So maybe we can play that clip now.
Yes. So with that, Daniel, it's given me a great pleasure to announce that Cambodia's first safe ground is officially launched. Thanks to you. Daniel, thank you so much for your compassion and commitment to raising awareness upon this ongoing mission for the betterment of Cambodia and the people of Cambodia. As an expression of gratitude, or our gratitude, I present to you this plaque in your honor on the safe ground at Stung Toi Ground Primary School. Please play the video, please. Thank you. Fantastic.
That is a wonderful thing to see. And we are now coming towards the end of our ceremony. Before I turn to His Excellency Lee Tuk for final words, Mr. Daniel Craig, maybe if you had any final words for us, please, over to you, Daniel.
The first thing I'd like to say is Kim Hong is a superstar. And just to thank everybody for being here today. Thank you, Nick, for hosting so wonderfully. What an honor. I left a little bit of my heart in Cambodia when I first visited years ago, and now I'm sort of stuck there now, which is a wonderful, wonderful thing. It is so crucially important. This last push. No one's kidding themselves. This is a very, very big job. I understand that, but I know with the right support and from support from all of you people here today, who are here today, who've honored us with your presence, with your support, this can be achieved, and some wonderful as you can see from the video, wonderful things can be achieved. So thank you to everybody. Thank you for everybody in the room, and thanks for your presence today.
Thank you.
Daniel Craig, thank you very much for joining us and for all your contributions to this important work. I now call upon His Excellency Lee Tuk to the closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Our children want to see you in person in the future when the COVID-19 restrictions lifted. Hope to see you in person here. I talked to the Prime Minister of Cambodia another day about our event today, and he was very happy and eager to see you too when you come visit Cambodia in the future. Thank you very much once again. Let me just say to conclude our event tonight, let us close this wonderful event with a final words to Cambodia development partners. Many of them are very compassionate to assist our people over the years. I can name those countries: United States, UK, Germany, Switzerland, South Korea, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, Japan, China, Ireland, and others private foundations, New Zealand, Japan. So private foundations and individuals also helping us. We have also Norway supporting us over the years. So with all these support, with Daniel, we want to call on you as our development partners to support the government of Cambodia and the people in this final period of 2025 to achieve our goals, our deadline, as we seek to provide the whole of our nation with safe ground to play, live, and strive upon as we move towards a mine-free Cambodia by 2025. Once again, on behalf of the people living in those contaminated communities, I thank you all very much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Very good. Thanks so much.